Hello everyone, welcome back to yet another episode of the Puerto Rico Scabby channel. My name is Emmanuel Santiago and today I'm gonna give you a controversial comparison between the Canon AE-1, which was released in 1976, and the EOS R5, which was released on July 2020. And even though that they are 40 something or almost 50 years apart, 46 I think to be exact, these two cameras are revolutionary in terms of technology in either of their timelines. But before we begin with this video, I would like to give huge thanks to AJ Soto for making my dream of owning an AE-1 film camera true and giving me knowledge. He's a powerhouse in terms of knowledge in film photography. He is a very passionate person when it comes to film photography, the media types, the type of films, and I am really grateful for the friendship that we have developed, and of course for the AE-1 that I was able to purchase from you. Thanks. Now, starting this comparison up, I might have to talk about the first thing that you see when you actually lay your eyes upon these cameras, and it is the build quality, the physical attributes of these cameras. And let's start with the Canon AE-1 for that matter. Now, the Canon AE-1, the first time you look and you put your eyes upon that camera, you say, wow, what a beautiful vintage look. Now, as you may see, it has a silver and black contrasted body. And this layout was really made intentional by Canon because they wanted to make the camera feel as metal as possible. Because actually the build quality from this camera, she is made out of plastic or molded plastic, but it resembles metal so much. It has such a aluminum feel to it. It has some parts, yes, are made of metal, but basically almost all of the entire camera is made of plastic, high-grade plastic. Now, even though this camera was launched at 1976, at the point in time, camera manufacturers were very slow in producing cameras because so much of the components of the cameras were having to be handmade. And yes, handmaking some tiny components at that point in time, yes, it was very hard for that type of industry. So, having said that, Canon really made this camera for the masses, and this camera, holding it just feels so organic, it just feels so familiar. Apart from that, I think it's one of the most beautiful cameras that I've owned to date, and it is really a jewel between my small collection of cameras. Now, let's talk about the EOS R5. The EOS R5 is one of my favorite cameras of all time. It has a body made out of all magnesium alloy. Some of the buttons are plastic and they really have a nice feel to it. It is very familiar if you have used cameras from the EOS family. In terms of ergonomics, the R5 is what I was looking for a professional mirrorless camera. It is bulky, it has a really deep hand grip, and I really like the feel of that camera in my hands. I was shooting from the 80D, 6D Mark II, 5D Mark IV, and then I made the jump into mirrorless with the EOS R, which is a little bit more small. I really enjoyed using that camera, and when I picked up my EOS R5 on July of 2020, that camera felt so familiar. I didn't even have to look at the button layout in order to shoot awesome images, in order to make it my daily driver. But in terms of styling, I think that the AE-1 really takes the cake. I really enjoy and I really love the vintage looks, all of the angles that this camera body has on itself, all of the textures. Yes, it gives it a lot of a mystical look, if you will. It looks vintage, it looks premium, it looks elegant. Yes, it is an awesome build. The AE-1 for me, if Canon ever makes a modern type body, I will definitely buy it out. And I know for a fact that Leica produces some retro styled Olympus and camera manufacturers like Fujifilm, but Yes, I am a Canon shooter. I own a ton of Canon lenses, and I am really looking to the day that Canon releases a retro style body in terms of build quality. Now, let's talk about the experience that I have been having with these cameras. Yes, how did I get sucked in to the film photography world? So, yes, I really love shooting photography, videos, and whenever I get a new item, I am excited because I know for a fact that I would take that item on a short trip to the beach. I would take that item on a short trip to a waterfall. Yes, I am really blessed to be here in the island of Puerto Rico because we have some of the most amazing beaches. I live like 5 minutes to my favorite beach, and as you may see from these images, the beach is incredible. Very white sands, palm trees everywhere, nature surrounding us. And yes, it is very special, and I really love it down here. So whenever I get a new piece of equipment, I really go ahead and take it out for a spin. And yes, with digital photography, it is always a pleasure because you just press the shutter button, look at your settings, and you are done. You are done. You have a beautiful picture ready to upload, ready to edit. Whatever you might like to do with the picture, you are just good with it. But I've always wanted to try film because I see all of these cameras and I wanted to get transported into the times that these cameras were used. And to my surprise, I have been falling in love with this process each and every time, because with film, yes, you get, instead of an SD card, you get a film roll, and with the film roll you get exposures, and you get like 24 to 36 exposures in some of the rolls, and you have to think about each and every shot you are taking because each and every shot counts. It really gives you this like moment to stop and think, how is your image composed? What are your settings for this shot? What type of film are you using, and how these settings will affect the chemistry of this shot? Yes, the chemistry, because even though that you have a camera body, most of the heavy work is being done by that film roll that contains actual chemicals that will absorb light and shape up the image that you are about to shoot. So I think that that moment in itself, it's very magical. And whenever I took this camera and I shot some photos with the camera with the Canon AE-1, each and every shot was a moment, was a very special and magical moment in which I sat back, I waited for my scene to be as I envisioned it, and then I pressed the shutter. Calmly, I pressed the shutter. Another thing that really surprised me in terms of the film photography side is that you take the shot, but you won't see a preview of it. You won't see how the shot was framed or how it came out, or if the film was like expired or broken. You will not get a shot saying, hey, you got your aperture wrong, you got your ISO wrong, you got your shutter speed wrong. And that is one of the most neat things about the Canon AE-1. It is that even though it is an old camera, it has an auto exposure feature that might help you get the right exposure according to light metering based on the center of the image. And that on itself, I think it's just amazing technology coming out from 1976. We photographers for nowadays, we take for granted all the settings that are inside of those fancy mirrorless bodies. You have your ISO, you have your aperture, your shutter speed, you have aperture value settings, you have all of this built into the camera, and it gives you instant results. And I think that owning a film camera will make you an awesome photographer, but will also make you enjoy your photography a lot more. You will be enjoying each and every moment that you step back, think about your settings, but also think about your environment. Feel the breeze on a sunset, you know, feel the temperature at which you're shooting. Really take in account the shutter speed, if you want to freeze that moment, or if you want to show a little bit of motion inside of your shots. And when you get the prints or the actual film developed, it is just magical, because I did not expect that each and every image brought a story into my mind. Like, for example, the following images that I am showing you right now were shot with the Canon AE-1. And yes, this is a comparison, so I want to show you actual pictures that I took with the AE-1. And these pictures really wowed me when I got them from thedarkroom.com. They have been great. It has been a really organic experience, and I cannot recommend them enough. If you are planning on shooting film or you are already shooting film, I really recommend these guys. Really high quality in terms of development, in terms of customer service, in terms of prints. Really awesome quality from these guys. And some of you may look at these images and say, hey, there's so much grain, there's so much softness in some of them. Well, this camera is almost 50 years old, and I shot them using the basic 50mm f1.8 FD lens from Canon at the time. And yes, it is not as solid sharp as RF lenses or EF lenses that are more modern and have more glass elements and everything, are bigger. But this lens and camera combination produces so much character, what I like to call character in the image. The image details sometimes are very preserved because of that film grain that it introduces when shooting. And yes, you may get out of focus backgrounds, you may get awesome long exposures with this camera, as you may see. And yeah, each and every photo has their magic into it. It's like for modern day shooter, it's like shooting and having like a filter on each and every shot that you take. But yes, for me it's art. It's basically one of the most artistic jobs that I have done, is going out, having a blast with this camera, and then receiving all of that art that comes out, unexpected art that comes out of this camera body and film combination. Now, taking a look at R5 shots, yes, R5 shots, 40 megapixel camera, full frame with the latest and greatest RF lenses. You will get photos that you can really blow out, and you will see exceptional image quality each and every time. Very clean images, very low noise, very high detail shots. With one single shot, you may get the ability to cut it out and cut out many different photos. I use this technique a lot. Sometimes I take out a wide lens, shoot a picture, and then cut it into different sections, and image quality is like you took a bunch of different pictures with another camera. It's incredible, it's unbelievable. I really love this camera. I really love the ease of use and the image quality that it gives you. Amazing for the price. Now, a really fun fact is that in terms of pricing, yes, the Canon EOS R5, you might find Canon EOS R5s on the $3,000s, $3,500 nowadays. The Canon AE-1, when it was released back in the 1970s, it costed around $600, but if we calculate for today's money, it was really worth $3,000 in today's money back then in 1970s, if that makes sense. So these cameras, yes, they were really marketed for those users that really wanted to get into photography and really have an awesome experience when shooting, because only at that time, at the time of the Canon AE-1, of course, auto exposure was a feature only available on the higher end cameras at the time. And for example, the EOS R5 by nowadays standards is a camera that shoots 8K full frame video without a crop, which only at that point in time, only red cameras were available and had those shooting resolutions, but they cost like $15,000, $20,000 and upwards if you wanted to get a higher resolution, that 4K. And that is really mind-blowing when you stop and think about that for a while. So guys, in conclusion, who's the winner, the Canon AE-1 or the Canon EOS R5? Well, I think that this time around they are both amazing cameras. They're both revolutionary, high-tech on their individual timelines. In 1976, the Canon AE-1 was incredible tech at the time for its price point, and the EOS R5, it's unbelievable even by right now today's standards, shooting 8K as well as 45 megapixel in full frame without crop. It's crazy. But the magic that the AE-1 introduces, if you are wanting to get into film photography, but you are taking it and putting it on second place, make it a priority. Get yourself a film camera. They are very cheap nowadays, ranging from $100. I got mine for $150 with lens included, and I think it has been such a magical experience. I don't know how many times I've said magical in this video, but it definitely is, and I cannot recommend it enough. So to finish up this video, I'm gonna tell you a quote that I found that says that digital cameras, yes, they take pictures, but film cameras, indeed, they take moments. So guys, subscribe to the channel. In the near future, I will be doing a review from a Canon QL17, which is a rangefinder, another film camera that shoots with a 40mm fixed lens with a 1.7 aperture, and it seems that lens is quite more sharper than even the Canon AE-1. So guys, I'll be seeing you in the next one.